Hey, what's up, everybody? So I'm coming to you today with the what's next on Josesito Lopez, former world title challenger. Lopez is my number 10 welterweight in the world right now. He's tied for that spot. Lopez returned on Saturday the 5th on the Errol Spence Danny Garcia undercard when he took on the veteran Francisco Santana. And Lopez came in the favorite, but, Santana's a good fighter, and he was coming down. Well, he's a veteran, experienced fighter. He's tough. He was coming down from 154 to fight. And, I think a lot of people thought it was going to be an all-action, pretty good fight, that Lopez was most likely going to win, but it could be close. Much to the same as the John Molina Jr. fight that took place last year when Lopez last fought in September. But he was also coming off of, just over 14-month layoff heading into the fight. Santana had just fought Jarrett Hurd in January and went 10 rounds. And, it was just going to be interesting to see what happened. And, man, Lopez went in there and just bulldozed Santana. He beat him up, he put him down with a body shot early in the first round, and then just kept pouring it on from there to the point where, the ref should have stopped the fight. He didn't. He got put down a couple more times, and then Lopez finished him in the 9th round, way late. Like I said, the referee should have called that fight way before that. But, another just big win against a guy he should be winning. He's not just beating these guys, he's smashing them with John Molina and then Francisco Santana. So, and after his performance against Keith Thurman last year, Lopez is very deserving of a top 10 spot in the best division in boxing. So the big question now is, what's next for Josesito Lopez? Well, Lopez, again, fighting in the best division in boxing, has the luxury of being a PBC guy in a PBC-dominated division. Lopez can pretty much, he's not going to be anybody's top pick right out the gate in terms of the champions, even though he wants a title shot. I don't think he gets a title shot unless PBC and Top Rank come together for him to fight Terence Crawford. But Lopez definitely needs to wait around and see what some of the champions are going to do next. We don't know exactly what Errol Spence is going to do next. Will he get the fight with Crawford? Not likely. Will he fight Pacquiao? We'll see. Will he take on Sean Porter? Those are all big questions that need to be answered. But while we're waiting, I think Lopez needs to wait a little bit and see what goes down with that. Because, for instance, if Lopez does not get the fight with Errol Spence, if he were to not get that, and Spence doesn't choose certain fighters, then Lopez might be able to be right there for them. So let's run through the top 10 real quick and see what the options are, because there's no clear-cut option right now. He's a WBC number 9 contender. So he's not far up there in terms of being in a mandatory position for a title. So let's run through the top 10. Number 1 is the undefeated unified champion, Errol Spence Jr. I don't think Spence wants to face a guy like Lopez. It would be taking a step back for him after beating Danny Garcia, beating Sean Porter, beating Mikey Garcia back to back to back. I think he wants a big fight. He's highly motivated. And I just think even if he doesn't get, Crawford or Manny Pacquiao, I think it makes more sense for him to fight somebody like Sean Porter in a rematch, and who's his number 1 contender anyways. So, and that's what I think he'll do. Now, so I don't see this one. Number 2, Terence Crawford. If the PBC and Top Rank want to come together to make this fight, it'd be possible, And Lopez is one of those guys where I don't think Al Heyman is going to lose a lot of money sending Lopez over to Top Rank to fight Crawford, and it might be a good segue to Crawford coming over to the PBC, but I don't know if Bob Arum would allow that, because Bob Arum, he's got one more fight, likely just one more fight with Crawford under his contract with Top Rank, so I don't think Bob Arum wants it to be against a PBC guy unless, that they can work out a bigger, longer term deal. But yeah, I'm just not seeing that one. So so I don't think it's going to be Crawford either. Plus, I think Crawford wants a better opponent, but he would take a guy like Lopez on if he had to. So it's kind of one of those situations. Now, number 3 is Manny Pacquiao. Now, this is interesting. I mean, we know Manny wants to come back and fight big-name opponents, but would he want to come back right away against, against one of those big-name guys, even a Mikey Garcia? Lopez might be a good guy to come in against and take on just to kind of, shake off the cobwebs because he hasn't fought. By the time he comes back, it's going to be over a year and a half. So I'm leaning towards a no, but you never know when it comes to that. Now, number 4 is Shawn Porter. This fight, if Porter does not get the Errol Spence fight or a fight with Crawford, which he wants, and he's mandatory for that, I definitely think a fight with Lopez makes sense. I think it'd be a good one. So I think this is possible. I'm gonna lean towards the less likely because I do think Porter's gonna get either Spence or Crawford next. But that's up in the air. It really depends on what Manny Pacquiao wants to do. So we'll see. Number 5 is now Yordenis Ugas. I got moved up to number 5. Another possibility, if Ugas isn't forced into a mandatory fight like against Jamal James or somebody like that, I think this would be a good one for him to go after right here. I think Lopez is beatable, but I still think Lopez holds a name. Not sure Lopez wants this fight, but it's not a bad fight to take either, in my opinion. Number 6 is Shawn Porter. Drawing a blank. Number 6 now is Keith Thurman. I don't think Thurman wants to dip into that well again, especially after a year and a half off. By the time he comes back, I highly doubt he'd go after a guy like Lopez in a rematch, so I don't see it. Number 7, Danny Garcia. I think this is the best option for Josesito Lopez. I think he should go after this fight right here with Danny because it makes a lot of sense. And Danny's coming off a loss, so why not fight a guy like Lopez to get right back into the mix? I think it'd be a fight Danny'd be interested in. I think Lopez should take the chance and feel it out and see if that's possible. Number 8 is Mikey Garcia, former 4-division world champion. Another fight I'd love to see. I know Mikey is hell-bent on getting the fight with Manny Pacquiao next, but if that fight doesn't pan out for him, why not Mikey and Josesito Lopez? I think Mikey, if he doesn't get a huge fight next, I think he'd be down to fight a guy like Lopez because he's out to prove himself. So I do think this one has some legs to it. Number 9 is Sergey Lipinets. Now, it depends on what the IBF decides to do with Lipinets. He fought to a draw against Custio Clayton, a replacement guy who's up there in the rankings. Does the IBF want to give Custio Clayton another chance to become mandatory, and do they want to give Lipinets another chance to become mandatory after that draw? That's up in the air, but they're both PBC guys, Lopez and Lipinets, and I think if Lopez weren't to get a top dog, I think Lipinets would be a very good opponent for him, so I definitely think that's possible. And then rounding out the top 10, tied with him for 10th is Jamal James. Jamal James is on the rise. He's a PBC guy. This is a makeable fight. I think Lopez would rather other options first because James, with his style, would probably be the favorite, but it's not a bad choice to make. So that's it. But all in all, the guys, that I think, I think he needs to wait around. I love the Danny Garcia fight. I love a Mikey Garcia fight. Ugas, James, and maybe Shawn Porter. I mean, are all possibilities. 9 of the top 10 fighters are PBC guys. So actually 10 of the, since there's 11, you got 2 guys tied for 10. 10 of them are PBC guys. So, and Lopez is hot right now, and he is seen as a beatable opponent. So I think it's possible that some of these guys might be interested in fighting him. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.